The views on a Breath of Fresh Air podcast reflects the parties involved, and we encourage you all to use it as a conversational tool that will lead to personal studies of your own.
Hallelujah. 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 Hallelujah.
Welcome to a Breath of Fresh Air podcast. Here with your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. As a young person, Christianity can be so foggy, like smoke in the mirrors and so unclear. But we're here to bring you a breath of fresh air.
The kingdom of Judah has become pesky to us Babylonians. I think it's time for us to put an end to their plans once and for all.
Well, sir, what do you suggest we do?
For 2 years, we've been encamped around this city, but the plan will be different this time. This time, we're going to destroy their temple, fully destroy them.
Their temple, you say? Oh, I mean, they do keep that temple they do have that temple in such a high regard. I think one of their ancestors, I think his name is
Solomon.
Yes, the Solomon Temple. It is a nice place. You sure we want to destroy it?
Think about it. Last time we came there, they had all of their precious jewels. They had their gods there. This is the place of highest esteem for the Jews. If we destroy the temple, we destroy them.
I like the sound of this.
Step into the final chapter of the Book of Kings, a tale of destruction and exile. Here the once mighty city of Jerusalem falls. Its temple is desecrated, and the people of Judah are carried off into captivity. Join us as we explore the tragic narrative of the fall of Jerusalem, the aftermath of exile, and the glimmers of hope that endure even in the darkest hours. In this episode, we journey through the somber yet significant pages of 2 Kings chapter 25. As always, be blessed and enjoy.
All right, we are back. All right, welcome back to another episode of a Breath of Fresh Air podcast here with your hosts,
Nakhaz Gay
and Earl Roberts. Hopefully everyone had a great week and are doing fine. English, grammar, I promise I speak it. Yeah, man, how's your week been? Or been going since we are in the middle of the week?
Yeah, my week been going good so far. I just came back from North Carolina on Monday morning. So I ain't gonna lie, I tired, bro. Monday morning, just came back from traveling. Yesterday was Yana's birthday.
Yep.
So, we was on the town yesterday. And it was Wednesday. But when y'all had it, it's gonna be Friday. But I am tired, bro. I am tired. Got a lot to do. Got some people coming in town, some of Yana's friends. So I gotta do some tidying up.
Mercy. Fun never stops.
It never stops, bro. It never. Our neighbor across the street, out of the kindness of her heart, she say, "Hey, I rented this pressure washer. You want to use it?" She's talking to Yana. Yana said, "Yeah," but I think she had to return it today. So that gives me only today
to pressure wash the house.
To pressure wash the house. So I had to try find some time to do that. I particularly didn't want to do it. You see what I said? Like, that's a Sunday type of move for me. You know what I mean? But I appreciate her kindness, so I didn't want to
turn it down.
So
if you ever need a pressure washer, I can help you out. But it's transportation of it, though.
Yeah, true. But I wanted to purchase my own. I mean, this is a tangent, but
yeah.
Anyway,
yeah.
By the grace of God, I've been working hard today. I ain't gonna lie.
God is good, though. You made it through.
Yeah, for real.
You made it through. Weekly thought. Got one?
I got you, bro.
Go for it.
I remember one time you said it so in the middle of a convo. You saying how sometimes you could ask God for something and it's you don't even know when you're ready for it. The analogy you was using is you could ask God for patience, and you don't know that you could ask God for patience, and next thing you know, a lot of things is coming to test your patience or whatever. I can be real, bro. I was praying to God for patience, bro. When I turned 30, I prayed to God for patience.
Mm-hmm.
But I kid you not, bro. Like day later, 2 days later, but someone try me so bad, bro.
Mm-hmm.
But someone try me so bad. And I don't be in these type of situations where when I come home, I thinking about it like,
Mm-hmm.
but I should have do that different. Hey, you see what I saying? It's like somebody try me and I ain't even respond to them, because I didn't, at the time I didn't take it as disrespect. But when I assessed the situation, I was like, no, boy, there's no reason why you have to go on out your way to treat me like that. You feel me? And I really sit with that boy, dog. I ain't gonna lie, wait. I ain't really talk for 2 days straight, bro. That's how mad I was. And I was just praying. I was like, bro, like what to do, Dread? Because like stuck in my mind, I'm like, yo, on paper, I do the right thing. I do the godly thing. I turn the other cheek. And we was just talking about turning the other cheek last week. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, when this was happening, I was like, all right, I turned the other cheek. But in my mind, it's like, I know I can see you again. You said this happened in the gym. You said, I was like, but I know I can see this man again. And when I see him, do I be like, wait, you see, remember what you do the other day, bro? I didn't like that. You know what I mean? Or do I just let it slide? You see what I'm saying? Or what, bro? And that really tests my patience, bro. You see what I'm saying? And so it's like, back to the point earlier, bro. Like when you pray to God for something, especially when you like earnest in your prayer, and especially if it's something to improve yourself, something to better yourself and get you closer to Christ, you got to be all in.
Fuck.
You got to be all in, bro. And even after that, something else happened. I had some conflict, some drama people just bring to my doorstep, bro. I don't really be in dramatic situations. I don't really be in altercations.
Like when the problems find you.
You see what I say? I don't really be in confrontations, bro. Like, but somebody was trying to make a case that I just go around lying and then, you see what I'm saying? And like to me, I was like, bro, and like to the people he was talking to, it was more offensive to me that they was believing it, Dread. Like, you see what I'm saying? Because I like, bro, but
when have I ever lied to you?
You see what I'm saying? I'm like, bro, that's not a common accusation of mine. Like all my life, bro, like y'all know, bro. Like I don't be looking for problems and things like that, bro. Like I don't be trying to get over on people, bro. I would even argue that sometimes I'm too honest or too fair with situations. Like
Facts.
I play basketball and I know I travel. I'd be like, you got it, bro. You see what I'm saying? Like, cause I just trying to be honest, bro. But anyway, long story less long, bro. God been putting me in a position to exercise, to practice what I pray for. You see what I'm saying? Like,
that's a fact. It's like, and to piggyback off of your thing, it's the same thing too. It's like, well, we ain't talking about the prayer journals and prayer books and like writing on your prayers in a long time. Hopefully people still doing that. If you haven't, continue that. If you haven't, start it. But like one thing I've been praying for more recently, I found myself praying for is like the courage. And the courage to like speak your beliefs even when they are unpopular. Because I feel like, especially in time with the world going on now, right? Like, especially the Christian perspective is not the most popular perspective to have.
Yep.
And because of that, typically, I'm gonna speak for myself. Typically, I just say nothing. And usually, like in certain places, I just like to talk, hear everyone else's perspective, and take that information. But sometimes I just like, I ain't even gonna say my perspective because I know I'm the odd one out here.
Right, I ain't getting
so I could just, and to avoid having to like, the debate, and sometimes like I'll just walk away. Even though I like debates, but sometimes like this ain't the time, this ain't the place, and I already know where this could go. But I feeling like I'm praying for more for the courage to actually speak out because sometimes, God puts you in these positions to be a witness for Him, and if you're there and you're swallowing your own words to be a witness for Him, then why are you even there? And we're not saying anything because we feel uncomfortable. I feel uncomfortable sometimes in these situations, and it's weird because I have a podcast, but it's what I'm saying. I do this weekly, talk about God, but it's still interesting that you'd be surprised even doing this. Even sometimes outside of this setting, I would still feel uncomfortable bringing up God in certain situations because I'm like, I know this is going to be the unpopular opinion. I know this is not what you want to hear right now. And it's something like I'm praying for courage and also do it with love. Because there's certain times when certain topics are super delicate and super nuanced. And you're like, all right, how do I bring the godly perspective to this, but still not sound like I'm bashing someone either? But that's something I'm praying for personally. And it's funny because like God puts you in these positions. And when you're in these positions, it's up to you to act. Because in your position, I give you kudos. Like, you put you in a position where you need to have patience. Are you going to have the patience or not?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And that's typically how God works. And people like, and it's funny because we have the opposite reaction to it most of the time. Like, oh, why God put me in these positions? Like, and I ask you for patience. That's why you here.
Right.
That is literally why you here. Because you ask for patience. And it's like, a lot of people, like, and again, a lot of times we pray for things, but we don't know what we're praying for.
Mm-hmm.
And when the trial comes or the lesson comes to teach us what to bring us through what we actually need to conquer, we fail it because it's coming in a way where you're not expecting. People just think, oh yeah, God, give me patience. A magical potion is going to fall on your head. And you're just magically more patient.
Yeah.
No, you go to these things. These are almost skills you have to develop. And a lot of people don't think of them as skills. Like courage. Best way to develop courage is one, people say when you need it, but it's like you're going to be placed in circumstances where you need to be courageous.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only way you get the skill.
Yeah, I mean, even in marriage, bro, certain things you ain't prepared to handle just in your interactions with your siblings or with your coworkers or with your friends, because it's a level of delicacy that come with handling conflict in marriage, in my opinion, because some things, I hear somebody say, bro, it's better, we say this on the pod, it's better to be righteous than to be right. Sometimes proving yourself to be right or proving a point or taking a certain stance could have a more harsh impact in the long run. So we might be arguing over, this is just a made up scenario, but we might be arguing over who washed the dishes last, right?
Mm-hmm.
But if I take it too far, even though I might be right, you see what I'm saying? That could really have a negative impact on how we treat each other, etc. So like even in marriage, but like certain things in year one, I would react. Certain things would garner a reaction of me. It don't garner a reaction of me now. And that's not because I was wise enough to see what the outcome would be, but because I had already experienced the outcome. Now, if I push back on your thought right now that you passionately about, but I don't care about for real, but I have a different perspective. If I push back on that right now, this could open up a longer conversation, which could lead to an argument. You see what I'm saying? So it's like, all right, cool. Yeah, I appreciate your perspective, because sometimes people, a lot of times people don't do things for advice. Sometimes people just trying to vent to you. You know what I'm saying? Or sometimes people, they don't intentionally do things. I didn't intentionally leave the sandwich unwrapped. You see what I'm saying? Like, so we could argue over this, but it wasn't my intent, truthfully. You know what I'm saying? So it's like a lot of things, when it comes to patience, bro, a lot of times you really gotta practice that. And it's beneficial, although it don't feel good. It's beneficial because it's like it prevents you from being in something that could feel worse. You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Hopefully you guys enjoyed that weekly thought. Definitely put your comments down below. Also, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button if you're listening on streaming platforms. Give us a rating or whatever that particular platform does. Also, go to YouTube, leave a comment, please. Hit the like or dislike button. Ain't telling you what to do with your life. And the comments don't have to be positive either. If you think we disagree, let us know, please. Like, we want the engagement. So definitely appreciate that. So in
2 Kings chapter 25.
That is what, for some reason, I'm in Genesis 25. And that was based off a conversation we were having pre-pod.
Right. So in the last episode, we talked about how Judah was conquered by the infamous, the notorious Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon. So at the time, who was the king at the time in Israel? I don't know why this is escaping me right now, but anywho, Nebuchadnezzar, he came and he infiltrated Jehoiachin.
Yeah.
I don't know why I couldn't remember that at all, but anyway.
Because there's a bunch of Jehoias.
For true, but I didn't have nothing. I had a complete blank. So anyway, Jehoiachin, king of Judah, the last king of Judah, quote unquote. It depends on how you look at it for real. But he did evil in the eyes of the Lord. During his reign, Nebuchadnezzar came through. They encamped around the city. They go on shopping in Judah. They go on anything of value, and it didn't have to be a possession. It could have been people. You could have been a nurse, a doctor, etc. A wise man, but a lot of gold. They plundered the temple. They took all of the goods and they carried it back to to Babylon. And at the same time, they left all of the things that were not of value to them. You know, there was still people living in there. And in their absence, Nebuchadnezzar assigned Zedekiah, who was, I think he was the uncle, yes, Jehoiachin's uncle, Zedekiah, to be the king of Babylon. And so that's where, the king of Judah. The king of Judah, after the invasion of Babylon. And so that's where we left off in 2 Kings chapter 24.
And we pretty much going to continue the same story in 2 Kings 25. So reading from verse 1. Now it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month, on the 10th day of the month, that Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, and all his army came out against Jerusalem and encamped against it, and they built a siege wall all around it. So the city was besieged until the 11th year of King Zedekiah.
Bro, in the 9th year of his reign, for some reason I thought they was meaning Nebuchadnezzar, bro. But I just realized that because, remember, like, it was scrolls and it wasn't like a book. So the last thing we was talking about was Zedekiah, right?
Mm-hmm.
So the last verse in chapter 24, then Zedekiah rebelled against the king of Babylon. Verse 1 of the next chapter, now it came to pass in the 9th year of his reign, in the 10th month of the 10th day, that Nebuchadnezzar came. You understand what I'm saying? So the subject would be Zedekiah.
Yep.
So Zedekiah reigned this was 9 years since Babylon had came and plundered the city.
Yeah, now Nebuchadnezzar's like, all right, I need to wrap this up.
I need to whip you all boys into shape.
So that's my boss to say, okay, this task has been dragging on too long now.
I got to put an end to
this. Task has been dragging on too long. Where are we at with this? Oh, they're still not. Okay, let's come. Besiege the city. I'm done with this.
It's on the list.
So the city was besieged until the 11th year of King Zedekiah. So we see that's about 2 years.
2 years, yeah.
By the ninth day of the 4th month, the famine had become so severe in the city that there was no food for the people of the land. And again, for people, what siege warfare is, they literally, kind of pretty explanatory here, but they surrounded the city, tried to cut off all the resources from coming in and out. So, and it's just literally to starve out the city. So you get so devoid of resources that you kind of have to just give up. We don't have to come in and sack it, but we can just let you give up and surrender. So that's essentially what they did for 2 years.
Yep.
Then the city wall was broken through, and all the men of war fled at night by the way of the gate between the two walls, which was by the king's garden, even though the Chaldeans were still encamped all around against the city. And so that's interesting to see. So we see that they were like, all right, y'all could leave if y'all want. We ain't really going to kill y'all right now, for real, because we don't under control.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So it's like, we just want y'all to surrender.
Yeah.
we try to do this as humanely as possible.
Right. We done destroy your army and we done take everybody now. We done starve y'all out for years. We just want y'all to give up, bro, because y'all being kind of annoying to us. You know what I mean?
Y'all make us a lot than it needs to be.
Yeah,
and the king went by the way of the plain, but the army of the Chaldeans pursued the king, and they overtook him at the plains of Jericho, and his army was scattered from him. So they took the king and brought him up to the king of Babylon at Riblah, and they pronounced judgment on him. Then they killed the sons of Zedekiah before his eyes, put out the eyes of Zedekiah, bound him with bronze fetters, and took him to Babylon. You know, I think that's so interesting, though. One of the things is a prophecy that was fulfilled, but secondly, that the last king of Judah, at this point of all Israel, really, was killed in the same city that was their first city 1,000 years ago, coming into Canaan again. Jericho was the first city. Then it was Jericho, then Ai. When Joshua, that was the first city they conquered, coming back into the land of Canaan, and it's literally the city where the last king died. That's just kind of, almost poetic.
It's poetic, right? It's circular, right?
And how does end going to even be real more circular? But continue.
But it's one thing I have to say.
Go for it.
It shouldn't be circular.
No, absolutely not.
Because they shouldn't be, in this predicament.
Yeah,
right?
okay.
But Jericho should not be a city either. Remember, Ahab rebuilt that city, and when Joshua destroyed the city, he said, "Curses the man who rebuilds the city." You understand what I'm saying? His sons and etc. And so it shouldn't never even have came to this. It's so many things that could have prevented this I don't know, irony to happen, but it didn't happen.
That's about interesting that you bring it up too, because it's so weird, because she was never supposed to be rebuilt.
Right.
But he rebuilt it.
Yes.
And it so happened this place where you died.
Yes.
Oh my. That's
Yes.
just
We shouldn't have been here. Like,
in multiple ways.
yeah.
Oh my. So reading from verse 8, and in the 5th month, on the 7th day of the month, which was the 19th year of the king Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, that Nebuzaradan, the captain of the guard, the servant of the king of Babylon, came to Jerusalem. And he burned the house of the Lord and the king's house, and all the houses in Jerusalem. That is, all the houses of the great he burned with fire. And all the army of the Chaldeans who were with the captain of the guard broke down the walls of Jerusalem and all around.
It always be interesting to me when these, I don't call them tyrants, but when these soldiers or army leaders decide they could burn down the temple. You know what I mean? It's like this. All right. First of all, throughout the Book of Kings, multiple people try to destroy the temple.
Mm-hmm.
This is the most successful to date. Your boy burn it down. You see what I'm saying? And it's like y'all really was done with Judah, bro. Like,
yeah, and I mean, because like it's when you were leader of that, and you want to crush the will of people who you especially who you like capturing. What's the one thing you guys hold there the most?
that down, but they're God.
Because like again, they're God, and now we already take all the gold from it, right? But now y'all can still go there and worship. That's still a symbol of hope and like refuge for y'all. Now if I could just take that away completely, what y'all left with, y'all feel like a hopeless people.
Boy.
And that's essentially what they
That's
did.
inhumane to me, bro.
Agreed, but
yeah, ain't no rules to this, but
and it's so crazy, right? I mean, I know, like, especially with everything that what happened today, right? There's like, oh yeah, these people are not abiding by the rules of war. To me, that just sounds so nonsensical.
Right.
We are in war. What do you mean there's rules?
Right.
I mean, like, the mere fact that you're in war, that kind of insinuates that all rules are out the window because we are already attacking each other. But yeah, like, they can't attack this place. I'm like, y'all just want to feed us these lies and think we don't know all sides commit war crimes.
Exactly.
But I seriously digress.
That's the thing. That's the thing. I just don't know how practical it is for every human being to stand on morals in every circumstance. You understand what I'm saying? Especially war. You know? Because it's like if two nations are at war and one nation crosses the line, are you all so
morally
sound that you said, you know what? I'm not even going to stoop to their level.
Man, because I could go on a tangent, but we get this video taken off of YouTube if I go on this tangent. But, oh my. Anyway. But yeah, I mean, that's essentially what they're doing. So like now because we're going to see what's going to happen right after. Like now the rest of the people, because before Nebuchadnezzar was saying we're taking the smart or whatever. And they say, no, guess what? All y'all coming now. Essentially is what happened. Like, yeah, we pretty much eradicating the very existence of what y'all used to be.
That was a very calculated, I ain't say calculated, but I see how this Rachel worked in the devil built on this thing, Rachel. Because today people say, oh, the earliest version of the Bible was written during the Greek period or whatever, but where it's like completely in my opinion, nonsensical that it would have been written during this time, because throughout the Old Testament, you hear people referencing this book. Like even Josiah found this book. This book was already lost, right? But scholars would argue that, oh, this was around the time when these books were written. You understand what I'm saying? But it's like, bro, how, bro? Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, how could we show where this king kept the sacrifice? All right, so Saul did not wait on Samuel to do the sacrifice, right? How did you know about sacrifice if we didn't have the Torah, if we didn't have the law.
Exactly.
You understand what I'm saying? And we could prove how archaeologists and academic people right now, they could prove up to like, I think like Rehoboam or something like that. Like, but we could prove that David existed because there's evidence to say of the house of David, but there's no evidence of David besides his descendants or whatever. So, all right, we could prove he existed, right? But there's so many times people discredit the Bible and say, "Yo, this is a fairy tale because we have no proof," and then proof comes up. So, like even Nebuchadnezzar, right? When you read the book of Daniel of it, so Belshazzar was the final king of Babylon. But there's no historical evidence of Belshazzar. We know that Nabonidus was the last king of Babylon until some wind blow, right? And
A stone that was buried.
Right, and this stone that was buried, it's called the Tel Dan Stele, I think, and it was inscribed that saying Belshazzar was descendant of Nabonidus, and he was a whatever the word is, co-regent, right? Because of Nabonidus's ailments, or it's assumed that his ailments or whatever. So I say all that to say this: to destroy the temple, where they might have even had original writings. You understand what I'm saying? They lost the book, but tell her what other writings could have been in there if y'all look hard enough. You know what I mean?
Chronicles of the Kings of Israel.
Exactly right. Exactly. So now that's why that's a good callback, bro. Because that's why when we read Second Samuel, First and Second Kings, and they conclude a king, they say, are they not written in the annals of the kings or the chronicles of the kings? But they referencing something that is common knowledge, but we don't even know what book that is. The book of Joshua. That's referenced in the Bible, but we have no clue of what that is, bro. And there's a book out there called the Book of Joshua. It's actually a false writing. It's generally accepted as false. It does not line up with the Bible either, for the record. But this is the first time the temple get destroyed fully. It's gonna happen again, like historically, and these are all facts you could search up. But think about all of the history, you know what I'm saying, in the temple that was lost during these times when it got destroyed, like when it got burned down. And both times that I'm talking about, it got burned down. You remember when Queen Cleopatra had lost the war to the Roman soldier who's trying to be king? Can't remember his name right now. Octavian is trying to be soon to be successor. Oh, well, he's the successor of Julius Caesar. They burned down the library, bro.
Yeah, that's such a sad day in history.
You understand what I'm saying? So it's like this is a normal thing. It happens. You understand? This Cleopatra time that I'm talking about, it happens after this, like in terms of like historically or chronology. But people when they try to erase your culture, you know what I'm saying? They go for the jugular.
Yeah, man, because we talked about this in previous podcasts too, right? Because like even in the world today, a lot of like cultures are simultaneously tied of religion. If I say Hindus, you instantly think India. I say Buddhists, most people could kind of navigate towards China.
Yeah, East Asian.
Yeah,
sure.
Shinto, Japan. You know what I'm saying? Islam, you're just thinking of the Middle East in general. You know what I'm saying? So it's like so much of these things are just tied to each other. So back then, your religion, your culture was super intertwined, especially these people. You guys worship the one true God. Everyone knew about the feats of Israel. All right, this is your symbol of pride. Let's take this away from you. That's essentially what the Babylonians did. Be taking away your symbol of pride. In verse 11, then Nebuzaradan, the king of the guard, carried away captive the rest of the people who remained in the city, and the defectors who had deserted to the king of Babylon with the rest of the multitude. But the captain of the guard left some of the poor again of the land as vine dressers and farmers. The bronze pillars that were in the house of the Lord and the carts on the bronze sea that were in the house of the Lord, the Chaldeans broke in pieces and carried the bronze to Babylon. They also took away the pots, the shovels, the trimmers, the spoons, the bronze utensils with which the priests ministered, the fire pans and the basins, the things of solid gold and solid silver, the captain of the guard took away. The two pillars, one sea, and the carts, which Solomon had made for the house of the Lord, the bronze of all the articles was beyond measure. The height of one pillar was 18 cubits, and the capital of it was bronze. capitals of peace at the top of the pillar. You know, the fancy thing that people see on top and the bottom of pillars when you think of a pillar. That's the capital. Was of bronze. The height of one capital was 3 cubits, and the network of pomegranates all around the capital were of bronze. The second pillar was the same with a network. This remind me of something, right? Like I was gonna send you this last week Saturday, but I didn't do it. Because everyone have this typical picture what Solomon Temple looked like. I suppose the temple ever looked like that for real.
That's what I was thinking. I was be reading this like, wait, how y'all get these? Or like how you get this design for real? Like I was reading the word like, wait, maybe I like miss it. You know what I mean? Like even the Ark of the Covenant, bro. Like I just be like, bro, like suppose it's some other details that just wasn't mentioned. Like,
and the first thing is y'all don't even know how a cherubim look.
Facts. Facts.
That's the first crucial detail we all missing. We kind of know from now like how Ezekiel, but like every Ark of the Covenant, that ain't a cherubim no have on that. Nope. Like that's the first, like that is that's not a cherubim.
That's a regular angel with their feathered, with their what they call wings.
Wings extended.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Like that is not a cherubim, but we digress again. But yeah, we see this guy. It was like, all right, cool. Yeah, we taking everything. Like we're taking everything for real this time.
No, but I think during the 9 years that passed, or maybe the 11 years that passed, they probably did some repairs on the temple. So that which was gold at the time when Solomon built it, now they made it of bronze because that's the only resources that they had available. You know, and so Babylon coming through again, like, oh, okay, y'all do that. You know, oh, we taking it again. That's my assumption. Like, I don't think the Bible gives us clarity, but I just don't know why they would have left it to begin with, you know what I'm saying? But could have.
Verse 18, and the captain of the guard took Sehariah of the chief priests, and Zephaniah, the second priest, and the 3 doorkeepers. He also took out of the city an officer who had in charge of the men of war. 5 of the king's closest associates who were found in the city, the chief recruiting officer of the army. I just laughed because that was a job from way back then. Let's recruit you to the army.
Yeah,
like,
true.
I was like, what?
You could just be around there big and strong and think talking about you could be a painter.
If you don't go try to fight these Philistines. All right, who mustered the people of the land, and 60 men of the people of the land who were found in the city. So Nebuzaradan, king of the guard, took these and brought them to the king of Babylon at Riblah. Then the king of Babylon struck them and put to death at Riblah in the land of Hamath. Thus Judah was carried away captive from its own land.
So you know what's interesting about that? Firstly, they left them there to begin with. And we were just mentioning how people ran away. The Chaldeans, aka Babylonians, was encamped around them, but it don't say that they chased them and killed them or whatever, right? Because they just want to end. But this very group of people, we killing y'all. You understand what I'm saying? Because y'all incite this insurrection. You the king and all his buddies, ain't none of y'all talking about this. No, we killing all y'all. And if you read the book of Jeremiah, you can see it was a long back and forth throughout this. Jeremiah, who, interestingly enough, was not taken captive the first time, bro. Jeremiah was left.
The lamenting prophet.
Right. So Jeremiah, when Zedekiah was trying to, come up with this plan, he reached out to Jeremiah to say, like, get God's blessing. And Jeremiah tell him straight up, bro, it's not gonna happen. But God, God is bringing destruction on y'all. And all of his priests, his wise men, all of these people was like, bro, this man bringing hard luck on our people by talking this foolishness. You see what I'm saying? They end up lowering him to this dungeon type vibe. He had no water, no nothing like that. That's how he end up dying, bro. Like, you see what I'm saying? Like
the lamenting prophet.
Right, Jeremiah. And I remember reading that 2 years ago, and I was just like, bro, it's so crazy because Jeremiah would literally come through with a prophecy from God, bro. And the people in Zedekiah era would be like, no, that ain't no true. You see what I'm saying? God say to do this type situation. And so all of this really could have been avoided, bro. Like y'all had already got y'all already lost the war and got plundered. But this second time, y'all temple, y'all could have avoided being destroyed.
Yeah.
That's a fact. Y'all didn't have to go up against Babylon again. Y'all had 9 years of peace, and y'all take that to like, bro, we getting ours back. You see what I'm saying?
Exactly. And you bring up an interesting point there too, right? Like when people, how some people can really like harden their hearts toward the word of God.
Mm-hmm.
It's like we know someone coming with the word of God, but just because it's not what it aligns with what you want to hear, you reject it. And I feel like that's such a. We look at it now, but I feel like we even today's day, like so much people do that too, and it just makes you think. I mean, because by the fruits you will know them, right? So, kind of answered my own question in my head, but it's like, how you know God didn't give someone a message that you reject, and just because it don't align with what you want to hear. And this is an interesting thought to have. Like,
hey, it's so interesting because remember I tell you I was writing a sermon on Lot, right? I was reading Ellen White, bro. She was talking about how because of Lot's hospitality. Remember we talked about this during his episode. Because of his hospitality, that was a part of his saving grace, bro. Because if he had chose to not care about these people or be mean, the destruction he ended up sparing his own life, bro. You understand? Just by being nice to someone, right? And it's like they go on to talk about how like it's a text in Hebrews to say like, be cautious and like doing things for people because a lot of times people entertain angels unaware, right? But it's so many times we could get blessed or we could get a word or some type of wisdom, but we actually work against the messenger. You understand what I'm saying? Because, we don't want to be nice. You understand? We don't want to be hospitable. We don't want to listen to you because I am a king. You are a lowly prophet. My boy is telling me this and that and the third. I am rejecting sound doctrine, which is actually, it's a life-saving advice that you're giving me right now. But a lot of times we get in front of it because of the circumstance, bro. And it's like, I was really thinking about that because I'm like, bro, but you just never know, bro. Like it really pays to do the right thing. And
agreed. Yep.
For a split second, I start to say, wait, God tough, bro. This just let me go through all through it because that ain't my 100% answer to that. But I was just like, bro, this is so tough. Like you telling me just because I ain't open the door for the stranger or because I ain't let this give this random person a ride that I can get destroyed. But it go on to say how in the same chapter of Patriarchs and Prophets, it go on to say how every day we have opportunities to do good or bad. Every single day. You understand what I'm saying? It's what habitually are we known for doing? You see what I'm saying? And in doing these and in doing little good things every day, we actually strengthen our relationship with God. We strengthen our opportunity for blessings and stuff like that. But it's like you make a habit of, I ain't helping this person. I don't care. I don't want to be a loving person today. You see what I mean? We make a habit of that and we closing doors. And sometimes the door could be a life or death situation, bro. And
agree. And then like even take it one step deeper, right? It's like people just look at the end result, but if you look a couple years back or a couple steps back, you're like, all right, how I even get in this predicament to begin with? Because you saying, it's tough that I in this situation now, but like how you get here because of your own choices. That's typically how it is with everybody. You already in this predicament because of choices you already made. And so like, I mean, put it this way, right? Your mommy love you, right? It's a weird question to ask, I know.
I hope she do. Just kidding.
Mom's sure you love guys, right?
Right.
You ever get your heart break before?
Yeah, for sure.
But your mommy love you?
Yeah.
But how come she ain't stop you from getting your heart break?
It's out of her control.
Exactly, right? Because you chose to like that girl and you chose, I wouldn't say choose to get your heart break, but you chose like that girl.
I put myself in that position.
You put yourself in that predicament. That's the same thing with like people looking at God. Like, hold on, bro. Like you put yourself in this predicament right now. This ain't got nothing to do with me. Now I could give you advice on the situation, or I probably. And the funny thing about it, some might ask, well, you probably shouldn't be talking to this one. But I still choose to go there and be like, me ain't know what she talking about, man.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying? But now you done going there boo-hoo crying in the room now because you get your heart break. And until you shouldn't have been doing this. And that's the same thing with God. God, God already told us, God already lay out what we should and should not be doing. It's a fact. We know what we should and should not be doing. But a lot of times we find ourselves doing the things we know we shouldn't be doing.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you get caught with your pants down, you're like, oh God, the punishment's so tough. But guess what? You shouldn't have been here.
Yeah.
That's just kind of how it is. Like, it was a weird example, right? But it's like, you shouldn't have been here to begin with.
Mm-hmm.
So now how am I tough for letting you experience what you chose to do?
Mm-hmm. The natural order of the decision that you made, bro. Like,
Exactly. Now I could sprinkle some grace and mercy to spare you from these consequences, but I ain't tough for allowing you to go through. You know, we all in the Bahamas, especially here, it's like tough love. Sometimes you gotta go through what you gotta go through it because you done mess up.
you gotta lay in the bed, you make up sometimes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's a long tangent, but I mean, I just think, I mean, that's what it is. Because a lot of times we look back and be like, God, why going through this? Well, sometimes God, you'd be happy early in God. But how you get here? How you get here? Cause I didn't tell you.
You shouldn't have doing this. You shouldn't have done that.
And the next thing too is like, I didn't send you other people as counsel that you probably ignored along the way.
Bro, that's what I gonna say earlier. When you were saying a lot of times you just don't even engage in the conversation. But a lot of times, bro, whether they push back or not, which they probably will push back, you're probably right. But a lot of times we in that position to give them perspective. And even though they probably gonna push back, they might not. Or if they do, God could turn around and say, bro, I had my servant Earl right there, bro. Y'all was talking about all type of things. He give y'all sound doctrine. Y'all push it. Y'all
discard
it or whatever. But at the same time, if we as Christians, if we allow the pressures and like just the hassle to get in the way, God don't even have that option to say like, oh, I give you all this because, oh yeah, I give you all it, but they ain't deliver.
Like Jonah. I sent the messenger, but the messenger never showed up.
Yeah, the messenger, he was missing in action.
Oh my, but yeah. I guess now back to 2 Kings.
Yep.
So in verse 22, then he made, let me make sure I finish that. Yep, I did. Okay, so verse 22. Then he made in Gedaliah, the son of Ahikam, the son of Shaphan, governor over the people who remained in the land of Judah. And Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, had left. So we see he essentially put like, hey, you're going to be in charge and rule over these people while I go back to handle with this massive empire that I have going on.
Mm-hmm.
When all the captains of the armies and their men heard that the king of Babylon had made Gedaliah governor, they came to Gedaliah at Mizpah. Ishmael, the son of Nethaniah, Johan, the son of Sariah, and Seriah, the son of Tanhumeth, the Netopolthalite. I'm probably pronouncing these wrong. Forgive me. And Jesaniah, the son of the Maacathite, they had their men. Gedaliah took an oath before them and their men and said to them, do not be afraid of the servants of the Chaldeans. Dwell in the land and serve the king of Babylon. It shall be well with you. And it happened in the 7th month that Ishmael, the son of Nethaniah, the son of Elishama of the royal family, came with 10 men and struck and killed Gedaliah, the Jews as well as the Chaldeans who were with him at Mizpah. All the people, small and great, and the captains of the armies arose and went to Egypt, for they were afraid of the Chaldeans.
Mm-hmm. So yeah, still conflict between Egypt and Babylon, and Egypt trying to help Jerusalem or the Jews or Judah or whatever.
But this still like, and it's like the real full circle moment now, because now you're seeing it. Well, the people are scattered because you're people in Babylon, small group of people who might have still stayed. Now you have a next group of people who are back in Egypt.
Back in Egypt, and in Deuteronomy, it specifically say, do not go back to Egypt.
Mercy. But where you go, guys? I mean, like, and again, I was like, it was like when the Bible said not to go back to Egypt, right? But then it's like, I could see the justification. This was when we had a kingdom.
Right.
This is when we were under our own rule and you were our king. At this point, our sins have driven us so far away from you. We don't even have a place to worship you no more.
Mercy.
Ain't that something, man?
What
a fall from grace. These people, anyway.
Yeah.
Oh my, so this is the last paragraph. Now it came to pass in the 37th year of the captivity of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, in the 12th month, on the 27th day of the month, that this translation say evil Marduk, but it's like other translations actually was Amel Marduk, king of Babylon. So he's a couple descendants after Nebuchadnezzar, Amel Marduk, the king of Babylon. In the year he began to reign, released from Jehoiachin, he released Jehoiachin, the king of Judah, from prison. He spoke kindly to him and gave him a more prominent seat than those of the kings who were with him in Babylon. So Jehoiachin changed from his prison garments, and he ate bread regularly before the king in all the days of his life. And as for the provisions, there was a regular ration given to him by the king, a portion for each day, all the days of his life. So it's like a small glimmer of hope throughout all the darkness that's happening.
Yeah, a lot of people when they dissect this last chapter, they say how you could still see God's grace on Judah, despite how far away they had drifted off, and the penalties that they got because of that. Jehoiachin, we ain't even hand but him no more, bro. We was talking about Zedekiah. Zedekiah, boy. Zedekiah done reigned and get killed, all type of thing.
Like Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego and going through the fire. And
you see what I said? All type of,
when you really think about it, bro.
Nebuchadnezzar done gone crazy, bro.
Exactly, bro.
All type of things happening.
That happen.
Right? And then we got Jehoiachin, who getting released from prison after all of these events happen.
The whole prophet who all and coming about, who gonna be the next empires.
Jeremiah done dead. When he got arrested, Jeremiah would have been a young man. You see what I said? And now he got released and he had a seat at the table. He had a prominent seat above a lot of people. You see what I'm saying? And so like, bro, and it's like we don't even have context as to why that happened, bro.
No. It's like when the Bible says the king just had compassion on him. And it's just interesting too, because again, when does one deserve compassion? It's just the goodness of God. And it's like God giving his people some sign. Because like, again, why was this even recorded? Like you're already in captivity, bro. Like no one cares. You didn't get lost to time. The people in Judah don't even know you really. They probably might have known, but either like he let you go back to Judah. Like taking you out of prison. You ain't a prisoner no more, but you ain't even a regent. You just gonna sit at the king's table. You're gonna be in my court. Probably offer me some advice. You
just my dinner gas for real.
Essentially, you're a good conversationalist.
He might have been a dread person too, Jehoiachin. Don't mind me getting off, but that's actually a glimmer of hope for the line of David. Because Jehoiachin was from the line of David. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah, the Davidic kings.
Right. And so even now, the promise of the Messiah is still alive and well. And it's funny because Daniel actually has a prophecy of weeks that directly says the Messiah is going to come X amount of weeks, prophetic weeks, after the temple is rebuilt. You understand what I'm saying? And we know that, and they know that it's going to come from the line of David. You see what I'm saying? And so this is just, I don't know, it's a glimmer of hope that God has not completely abandoned his promise. The Israelites, well, the Jews, I should say, because Israel, more than likely, that's considering the northern kingdom or all 12 tribes, but we just talking about the two tribes, Judah and Benjamin, which was called Judah primarily. They might not have even seen it that way. That might have just been like a win for them, living in exile, living in Babylon. Like, bro, thank God he's released. You'd be happy about that. But for God, that was him showing that he's going to keep his promise. I have every intention of keeping my promise. You know what I'm saying? I'm not going to let the line just die out, So
overall, so you got the next point?
No.
Like, overall, how you feel about Judah now, since it's like the official end of the Judah arc for now, at least?
Yeah, honestly, in terms of arc, that's just the end. It's the end because when we get to the New Testament, no, truly, like when we get to the New Testament,
y'all under Roman captivity,
right? But we don't talk about Judah. We talk about Jesus and the disciples.
Yeah.
You understand what I'm saying? Then we talk about the apostles.
And Paul gone throughout the whole empire. I feel
Right.
like.
So when it come to Judah, they like a secondary cast. You see what I'm saying? They're like kind of like the background. They in the background like with the Romans as well. You know, because Jesus was a Jew, preached to the Jews, etc. You know, but overall, it's kind of, I don't know. It's kind of like an interesting feeling because we know that, excuse me, in terms of timeline and narrative, we're not going to get any further in the story of the Jews in the Old Testament. But the only thing that we're gonna have left is like, you know, poetry and stuff like that, words of wisdom, but also the prophets and how they prophesied for the future, but also how they prophesied to these people
during the reigns that we've been talking to.
Right, during the reigns. And if we do a tally, there was about 20 kings in the northern and southern kingdom. In the northern kingdom of Samaria, Israel, 0 out of 20 kings did right in the eyes of the Lord.
Goose egg.
0, Darwin Miller, 0.
Oh, Lord.
So 0 out of 20. 0%. You see what I'm saying? And so we got in the southern kingdom of Judah, 8 out of 20.
Yeah, and
40%.
even that 8 was little so.
Right, you see what I'm saying?
Like when you go back and look at it,
right?
Like, you're like you start off good, but you end bad. You kind of start bad, but you find good.
Right.
Really and truly, be being honest. Now, it's well accepted as 8 kings, but if we being honest, it's really only like 4 who was like good from start to finish.
Yeah.
Like,
and so it's like in the Jews in totality, like not the Jews, but the kingdom of Judah biblically in totality, ups and downs, bro. A lot of rocky roads, bro. The most revered king is David, and his life was a journey, bro. When he became king, that's when he had some type of normalcy and everything was going good. He, you know, it's some normal wear and tear, you know, some things he didn't get right, like with the Ark of the Covenant, bringing it in the first time to do or die. And, you know, there's some room for improvement on certain things.
my boy glance past us like that, eh?
As a boy. But he had big downfalls. He had very big downfalls, and that kind of dictate his leadership. And then before he passed away, his last notable thing in the book of Kings, in the book of Samuel, 2 Samuel, he numbered the soldiers. He took glory for himself. And so he ended on a bad note.
Took that census.
Right. And so the first king, we had Solomon, his son. Solomon was another up and down. He started up, ended down. Some assume that it was time after the biblical account where he got back on track. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. It's a big assumption. It's a big assumption because we read, when it comes to Josiah, we read about all the idols for all of the different gods that Solomon erected. You see what I'm saying? Crazy. And ever since Solomon, we just had a somewhat of a downward slope of kings. Down, down, up, down. You understand what I'm saying? So it's like the way they ended, very reminiscent of in the book of like Judges. You see what I'm saying? Where we were saying Israel had no king, and so they did everything that they pleased. So Israel had a king. You see, this time they had kings, and they still was doing that they pleased because they put their faith in man to be king and not in God to be king. And in the same way, we can't trust people in war to be honorable. We can't trust human beings, leaders, to be completely honorable, bro. The only way that can happen is if this person is a self-sacrificing, God-fearing human being. And in the grand scheme of Judah, the vast, I ain't gonna say vast, but the minority of kings actually fit that bill.
Yep.
We starting off at 8 out of 10 based on did they worship idols or did they follow after David's footsteps? And then throughout the 8 out of 10, we have people who go on crazy. Like we have Jehu, right? Jehu do the right thing, right? But Jehu never stopped killing people, bro. Jehu just keep destroying this. He ended up destroying even people from the line of David he killing. You understand what I'm saying? Like,
went on a war path, a maniacal war path.
right, you see what I'm saying? Okay, but now we got Hezekiah, right? We have Hezekiah did right in the eyes of the Lord until God give him a miraculous extension of his life, and then he started taking the pride for himself. He started taking the glory for himself. Anyway, but it's like we have situations where the duality of the human being, bro, God put them in position. They recognize God, but it's like your own glory and your own passions take the front seat. You see what I'm saying? And that just go to show, bro, like you could have people who direct contact with God. They have direct contact with prophets who talking to God directly, but that does not safeguard you from following after the devil and following after your own selfish desires, bro. Like you have to be self-denying and fully relying on Christ. And that's the only way we can avoid sin. That's the only way we can safeguard ourselves from sin. Zedekiah, king of Judah, led an unsuccessful revolt against the Babylonians. And as a result, the Babylonians encamped around Judah and starved them of all their resources. And once Judah surrendered, they plundered the city once again, taking anything of value, people included. And when that was complete, they burned down the temple. For the most part, the nation of Judah is now in exile. But there will come a king that is gracious enough to allow them to rebuild that temple. But we'll talk more about that as we introduce the books of Ezra and Nehemiah on the next episode of A Breath of Fresh Air. Tonight's episode included voice acting by your hosts, Earl Roberts and Nakhaz Gay. Remember to go ahead and research on your own in order to get a more firm understanding of tonight's episode. And if you enjoyed it, make sure to like, subscribe, and share with your friends. You can follow us on social media at A Breath of Fresh Air Pod on Instagram and BOFAPOD on Twitter. Thanks, everyone, and we'll see you next week.